A whole bunch of Kickstarter related things. The first thing is just to mention Zombicide Green Horde launched. It's $120. We don't really know anything about Zombicide, so we're not going to talk too much about it.
Yeah,
but
I do know, and it's sort of funny because I was talking with someone about it, and he said, like, he wants to back it and stuff because we were talking about Kickstarter exclusives, the pros and cons about them. But he's like, this comes with some, I mean, it's not actually them because they changed the names, but it's some Conan figures. Like guys from the Conan stories and stuff, but not Conan. The Conan was a Kickstarter exclusive for the previous, like, Zombicide.
Yes,
So he's just like, why do I want to get it, but I want him. I gotta get the whole set.
They like to like link their campaigns. It seems there's always like they announce a game during the updates of the last one, and there's like promos. It's weird.
But it's just like I want to back this, but I don't want. I want this exclusive because I want Conan too. I want the gang back together.
Well, tell me about a game that you do want to back that is called Rekka Mecha, which is an awesome name.
Well, this is a fun, small game, which is in essence you're each building mechs and trying to beat each other. It comes with a lot of unique pieces. I think it was 20 unique arms and legs, 9 heads and cores, and the idea is you play different ones, and there's sort of a rock, paper, scissors element too. So like this beats this, but they have different abilities, so they can block damage or can be considered both melee or ranged. And looked like a fun, simple sort of game if you like mechs. And the other cool thing is if you have 2 copies, you can actually do two. It's a 1v1 usually, but you can do 2v2. So that way, like if you owned a copy to play just the other and I own one, but if we got together, we can then do more of a fun 4v4.
Is there like a free-for-all, or is it strictly a 2v2? Do you know?
It said a 2v2, but I wouldn't be surprised if they either make one or
somebody does.
Yeah, it goes for $25 for 1 copy, $45 for get 2.
So check that out, Rekka Mecha. Sounds good. Would you recommend it? That's pretty good. Next, my Kickstarter pick here is Escape the Dark Castle, which has this really cool black and white kind of gothic horror, but more like an 80s D&D vibe from the artwork and the feel. It's a cooperative dungeon exploring adventure. Everybody has a character, and you're going through a deck of cards, and as things come up, it may be a combat encounter, which involves everyone rolling different dice, trying to get certain symbols, or it may be a decision you have to make, some kind of an encounter, and you play through until you get to the end of the dungeon. The art style looked really cool. I liked the theme. It sounded like a fun, casual, cooperative experience. Did remind me of the one deck dungeon, which I backed the last expansion when it went up, and the base with that. So I'm not sure how similar they are, but it sounded like kind of a similar deal, although this one is multiplayer. That one I think focuses more on the solo experience. So I liked this one, Escape the Dark Castle. That goes for $32 for the base set of that. And then I feel, it's been too long since we've had a Lovecraft game.
Oh, so long.
But this one actually sounded, I liked it. So tell me about Carcosa.
Yeah, so if you don't know, that's a place in Lovecraft lore. And the idea is you're all cultists building Carcosa and then eventually awakening the King in Yellow. And what's cool about this is you're all fighting each other, you're all building the same place. So you're each going to be getting tiles to either replace people's tiles if they're not protected or build it, so you can make this unique map, which something we talked about how we like that sort of idea. We'd want to see almost like Suburbia, but everyone work on the same thing and just see what hilarious thing comes out of it. And that's really cool. And of course, there's worker placement and moving pieces and making sure if you guys go too insane to get power and cast spells. It sounded like just this really fun, interesting tile mechanic. And also, because the tiles could be secret, they have 2 sides, because once they're flipped, I think they're protected. You could place some tiles and wait until to flip them to get different abilities and stuff like that. So it did sound like a really fun, unique sort of tile map building take.
Yeah, it looked cool, and I like that it's focusing on the King in Yellow thing, because I feel like that's usually not the place they go for these games. It's nice to see a Lovecraft game that's not just Cthulhu's fighting each other. Yeah. And the gameplay sounded fun and unique to complement that as well. Carcosa, that one goes for $38 if you back it.
We're slowly increasing. I like that.
Yeah, well, the next one also is slowly increasing. One more, and this is a little bit of a cheat because it is not a Kickstarter Pickstarter. It is a Fig Pickstarter. Are you familiar with Fig?
I actually am not.
Fig is the crowdfunding platform started by Double Fine, the people who do, Psychonauts and all those games. They started their own where they do their own games on it as well as other select companies. So not anybody can join it, but the people they make deals with do it. And this one that actually did go up on there recently is a digital version of Flashpoint Fire Rescue. And the reason I thought it looked significant is because unlike a lot of digital versions of board games we see where, it's the board digital. Right. This really does look like a full-fledged video game overhead,
so I assume that instead of just the flat board, you actually have the house or something.
Exactly. You have a three-dimensional house from kind of an overhead, kind of an isometric perspective. You're moving people in and out. You see the explosions, special effects. There's full animation of your characters and all that stuff. So I think that's really cool. I appreciate that. And it seems like a fun take on the game. It's a cartoony art style. It's not being made by Double Fine themselves. It's another company called Retro Epic Software. Only $15, yeah, for the digital version. So that's cool, especially for a good co-op game. You want to have a good looking environment for your online interactions with people. That's kind of interesting. You don't usually see board games on Kickstarter. Is the big deal, right? I don't know if we're ever going to see other platforms like Indiegogo.
Well, I think it all depends on the kind of thing. I think that's what sort of happened. I feel Kickstarter's more for business kind of products. Like Indiegogo, is it Indiegogo? I don't know. There's one that's more for if you need help with a medical bill or something. But that's
GoFundMe.
Yeah. This is not the time for that.
It's not the time for that. If you enjoyed this video, it was just a snippet of our full-length podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel every week. So please go ahead, like, and subscribe for more board game-related content coming at you in the future.
And don't forget to check out rollforcrit.com, where we actually sell a lot of the games we talked about, as well as post news and all our other videos. Until then, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is Roll for Crit.